Welcome back to A Week Around the Nest, Episode 7. I'm your host, Sam Montag. Well, as the Hawks look to wrap up the regular season, they're going to need all hands on deck as they look to make a push towards playoffs. It seems like every situation has become a little bit more important, with the pressure mounting with every pitch thrown. In situations like that, it's more important now than ever that the Hawks keep calm heads when they step up to the plate and when they're in the field. To figure out better on how to do that, we spoke with Coach Cogliano in this week's episode of Catching Up with Cogliano.
Thank you, Sam. Here for a hot one against Cotuit with Catching Up with Cogliano for Week 7 of A Week Around the Nest.
Is this our last week?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. We've got.
I don't know if there was a playoff edition of Catching Up with Cogliano, but if there is, good.
Well, whenever the Harbor Hawks play, there will be this.
Okay, good. All right.
So we're hoping there's another week. And
let me just make one observation.
Okay.
Every interview we've had has gone pretty well, and I've stood over there. So why don't we switch?
Creativity here on Catching Up with Cogliano. Let's talk about the playoffs a little bit, because the Cape League playoffs is a bit of a crapshoot. It's a gauntlet, just a week and a half or so. Now you've got a 3-game first round. There will be no more single elimination. But what's the preparation like for you as coaches as you get ready for this pivotal final week?
Well, the key is for us is that we have to get there first of all, and then once we think we're going to be there, lining up the pitching for. It's a huge advantage for teams that are already in. That can line their pitching up, that don't really need the wins. But this league this year, as you know, is pretty straight across the board, 500 or under. And so lining up, getting in and then lining up the pitching is a challenge.
Feels like there's more parity this year than there has been in recent memory in the Cape Cod Baseball League. But as much as any team can win on any night on the Cape, it feels especially like that's the case this year. How do you guys prepare for that?
The key for that is timely hitting, right? So we're leading the league in a bunch of offensive categories. I was just talking to Cole about that, but we're 7th in runs scored. So what does that tell you? That tells you that we're getting more people on base, but we're not banging them in. So timely hitting, I think, is the key. The team that gets the biggest hits the last couple of weeks will be the team that wins this thing.
How do you make sure that Hyannis is the team that does that?
Pray. And then, the key is to... I don't know. They just, again, we talk about it every week is the mentality. They have to have their heads in it. And if they're in the game and they're seeing the pitches and they're having good at-bats, then those will come. Like the other night against Seattle, we just hit the ball at people all night, where the game we should have won, so it is what it is.
It is what it is, and this is a very big final week for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Glad to have you back for Week 7 of Catching Up with Cogliano. Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much on a very hot day. Have you got some sun since the last time we talked about that?
I think I have. I mean, here's the best tan I have. I've got a little sun.
Have you been to the beach?
I have not, no.
Why not? You live on the Cape.
I do live on the Cape, but I haven't had a bunch of time because I've been here every night, and I love it.
I understand that, but you have to take time for yourself. You have to make time in the morning, even if it's just to go over there, get some sun. Like I said, it's good for vitamin D or whatever it is. Plus, your attitude is better when you get some sun. And then dive in the ocean. It's great for your skin. Any cuts you have, it's very good for you. So you got to try to do that.
Take a note. I'll head to the beach. Sam, back to you.
Thanks, Gio, and thank you, Coach Cogliano, once again. Well, as the players look to approach the postseason, despite the mounting pressure, their skill seems to be at the highest level it's been at all season. We were able to take the 3 best plays from the week and break them down for you in this week's segment of Best of the Nest.
Thank you, Sam. Welcome to Best of the Nest, Week 7 here in the final week of the Cape League regular season. With Graham Nash, I'm Giovanni Collada. Graham, it's a big week for the Harbor Hawks, in and out of the playoff race, and more good plays to go around.
Yeah, we're going to start with some really hot offense from a still relative newcomer on this Hyannis Harbor team. Check out Jace Doby. Top of the first inning against the best in the West, the Wareham Gatemen. Parker Brocious on second, and Doby reaches up in the zone, deposits it in left center field. That is an easy first run for Parker Brocious. And with 1 out in the inning, Doby would keep 1 in scoring position for the Harbor Hawks early on. And it was a start that they proved to need, a 2-1 win for the Harbor Hawks in that ball game, and a big one that they needed against the Gatemen.
Got another big win last night in thrilling fashion. Before the antics of the 9th inning, Jeff Luigi had himself a nice catch in the 7th. Take a look. Top of the 7th, 1-run game. It's Cade Lewis at the plate against Sam Gerwal. He was shoving, and Jeff Lugi's going to help him out. Full extension, sliding grab. He does it yet again. Lugi, not the first time he's done that, and he does it in a big spot here. With Bourne threatening, Hyannis sure did need that grab because when it got late, it got weird.
Yeah, you mentioned the antics in the 9th inning just a moment ago. That's going to be our last play. Check out this really big antic for the Harbor Hawks. Bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, Jace Doby at the plate, Will Whelan is dealing, and Camacho the winning run at third. But that one gets away! Camacho has an easy trip to home plate, and the Harbor Hawks finally get their walk-off win that they have been oh so close to so many times. 4 ties this season for Hyannis, but Gabe Camacho was not going to let this one end the same way that the other 4 had. 4-3 win for the Harbor Hawks over Bourne. And a huge win for the Harbor Hawks because Falmouth also won that night that Hyannis beat Bourne. So their race for that last playoff spot still standing at 3 points, the difference.
This weekend is going to be huge for Hyannis as it makes a playoff push. That's going to do it for us here on Best of the Nest Week 7. Back to Sam Montag with more.
Thanks, Graham and Gio. Well, the hitting continues to thrive and the pitching continues to take steps in the right direction as we approach playoffs. Gio has more on the pitching now.
Thank you, Sam. It's been an up and down July and certainly season for this Hyannis pitching staff. It enters the night here at Harwich, first in the Cape League in starter ERA, a shade under 3.3. But you go to the bullpen, that ERA balloons to over 5.4, and a lot of the reason for that is free passes. You mentioned it time and time again on the broadcast that free passes have marred the month of July for Hyannis, in which the record has dwindled from a first in the West Division all the way down to as low as 5th with a 5-game losing streak. It leads the Cape League in walks throughout this month of July, yet recently that hasn't been the case. As Hyannis begins to figure things out before the playoffs, the pitching staff has walked a month low in batters across the last couple of games, including just 2 tonight against the Harwich Mariners entering that 10th inning. So while things aren't exactly instantly correcting right now for Hyannis ahead of the playoffs, just 2 games to play in this Cape League season, if it can limit free passes, the bullpen can lower that ERA and make a playoff push. Back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Gio. The pitching's going to look to continue getting better as we approach playoffs, and the Hawks look to make a big run deep into the 2025 Cape Cod League playoffs. Well, Harbor Hawks fans, now it's time that we call on you. As Coach Cogliano said, this is the most important time in the entire season, and we need your support to go deep into playoffs. We love seeing packed houses at McKeon Park every single home game, and we can't wait to see them as we look to make a big push deep into the playoffs and hope to get a championship. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of A Week Around the Nest, episode 7, the one finishing off the regular season. I'm Sam Montag, I've been your host, and we'll see you hopefully in the playoffs.